compro o jornal da manhã, que é pra saber das novidades. Eu moro na roça, iaia, eu nunca morei na cidade. Compro o jornal da manhã pra saber das novidades. Moro na roça, iaia, eu nunca morei na cidade. Compro o jornal da manhã pra saber das novidades. Minha gente, cheguei agora. Minha gente, cheguei agora. Minha gente, cheguei com Deus e com Nossa Senhora. Eu moro na roça, iaia. Eu nunca morei na cidade. Compro o jornal da manhã pra saber das novidades. Moro na roça, iaia. Eu nunca morei na cidade. Compro o jornal da manhã pra saber das... Chique, chique, macambira, filho de preto da Angola. Ainda bem não sabe ler, já quer ser mestre de escola. Eu moro na roça,
The lake was still, the wind couldn't disturb the leaves on the trees, and the voracious heat made our bodies feel heavy. We all felt excited and longed to go swimming after the long trip from Bogota. A mixture of sweat and dust clung to our skin and made us feel impatient to jump into the water. Pajonales was an idyllic place with a huge rice field planted in the heart of the region of El Tolima. The lake provided irrigation for the area, but we were allowed to go swimming there. Some of our friends were Red Cross trainers. We all went along with the smooth waters, synchronized in pleasure, and swam until dusk when hunger drove us out of the lake. The time didn't matter much. The sunset told us the right moment to join the local people and eat something unusual like alligators' tails, roasted in the charcoal and mixed with rice. The texture of the meat was similar to fish and delicious. Before anybody questioned anything, we were already satisfied and grateful to have been fed. From time to time, the population of alligators rose, and the locals knew well how to hunt them. When the sky was pitch black, the alligators' red eyes shone like two strong lights. The target was between the eyes, and the shot from the harpoon rarely failed. The ability of the fisherman was extraordinary. The path covered with dried mud was itself like a landscape, something to contemplate in silence. We could hear our own footsteps while we looked at the cattle gently grazing, and in the distance the full red moon glowed into infinity. Suddenly it was nightfall, and we wished to have a long sleep. Throughout the wooden gaps the morning light filtered its gentle rays, and the smell of coffee awoke the brain. With the birds singing and insects buzzing, we started the new day, and many other days followed in tranquility, till the explosion of love happened. My friend Maria told me that she was very fond of Jose. "Look," she said, "when he is swimming the butterfly style, that is when my knees go weak. If you look carefully at his back, it's like seeing something really powerful coming out of the water." I couldn't see anything different from the other people's backs. Here we go, I thought, and I told her, "You have fallen in love at first sight. My only wish is that he feels the same." By the fourth day at the lake, we had swum for about 6 hours each day, and our skin was shining with suntan. We helped each other to massage our bodies. After a long swim, the shoulders in particular needed attention. I heard Jose telling Maria, "I'll give you a good massage if you give me some of your food. After all, you are much smaller than me." She accepted, and during the following days we saw them both enveloped in long conversations. I noticed Maria's eyes sparkling, and I told her, "You are beaming with happiness." She said, "I think he likes me too. I cannot resist his charms." A week later, we all went back to the capital to our jobs and daily life. Maria kept in contact with Jose, and their relationship grew stronger. My dearest friend seemed to be totally absorbed in her boyfriend, as happens at the beginning of romance. Therefore, I saw less and less of my friend, and I started missing her so much. The memories of the wonderful days of our youth are always present. When we went shopping together, spending hours and hours deciding on the best material for clothes, and then we would come back to her house to eat in the company of her brothers and sisters. There I was treated as one more member of the family. Laughter and jokes were very much part of the meals, and the endless hours that we spent around the table for the sake of it. We had amazing parties with the rhythms of tropical music in the garage of her parents' house. Maria's mother would sit in her special chair in the dining room to read the newspapers and doze off from time to time. In Maria's room, we tried on hats, platform shoes and trousers that we thought were a bit mad because the ends of them were like tents. Even the belts with many accessories were amazingly fancy. We spent days reading poetry. Walt Whitman was one of our favourites. We dreamed of incredible places, wishing with all our hearts that one day we could go as far as La Amazonia and La Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta, where the Arhuacos and Amazonian South American Indians still survived, despite the avatars of civilization. Maria was a brilliant student, and so she graduated with honours in economics. Then she had the offer of a very good job, and all the responsibilities that came with it. She accepted, and within a year she had zoomed to the top of her work. Nothing could stop her in her career. She seemed thrilled at what she was doing, and as she said once to me, "There is so much to learn, and it seems that life is too short to get all that I want from it." We never stopped searching for the kind of things that made us feel satisfied, fulfilling our young lives. I suppose this is what you do with your life when you have a lot of energy, and so throughout the years we created and bonded in a wonderful relationship, the type we know lasts forever. One of the many afternoons when we were listening to music, with our backs flat on the floor and with our minds drifting, while Vivaldi with the Four Seasons intruded on our imagination, the sweet feeling of the trees in bloom and the freshness in the air took us to beautiful far-off lands. When I opened my eyes, Maria was standing by the door. She looked tall, despite the fact she was rather petite. She squatted down next to me and said, "I would like to see the blossoming flowers in Japan one day. Then Vivaldi will be complete for me." The sea was rough and the birds were avidly eating the fish guts that the fishermen left behind. Hundreds of exotic species strolled up and down the beach, while the pelicans manoeuvred like aeroplanes, plummeting like rays into the water, a fascinating spectacle. But the sun beat down strongly overhead and vision became bleary. A feeling of dizziness overcame me, and I began to daydream. In the forest, pursuing butterflies, Maria and I were running, playing hide and seek and walking on tiptoe with a finger over our lips. We knew that the timid butterflies were faster than us, yet insistently we tried to get closer to them. Exhausted, we lay down over the golden wild grass, looking at the top of the trees. Our hearts were racing and seemed to follow the rhythm of the leaves with the wind. Then an amazing thing happened. The first butterfly paused over Maria's belly, and many others followed suit over me. Muttering, I said, more are coming, we must pursue our dreams. But Maria had vanished. I opened my eyes to a blinding flash of sunlight. All the birds had gone, and I was just left alone with the sea in front of me. After my delicious meal of fish, plantain, and coconut rice, I sat in the porch of the hut to contemplate the stars and became totally engrossed in their powerful energy. The same night in my sleep, I dreamed again of Maria lying in the grass. She was blanketed by a cloud of yellow butterflies and had been lifted and taken by them into the forest. In the morning, I came to terms with myself about my friend. She wasn't there anymore. I heard a pattering, and when I opened the door, a couple of Indian women were weaving mochilas, sitting in the sand outside the hut. With their smiles, it seemed that they could erase their own suffering. The entire burden was gone with the movement of their weaving fingers. Nearby, in another village, female Indians extract salt from the sea. There, the salt has the highest concentration. When the tide goes out, the terrain is covered for miles and miles with an amazing amount of dense and solid salt. In the distance, you can also see women in colourful tunics and their strong arms with pickaxes working in their plots of salt. In that way, they earn the money to feed their children and pay for what they called sweet water. The desert of La Guajira is very rich in minerals and precious due to the unique culture of its indigenous people. Along the road, there is a railway to take out the coal from the region, but passengers are not permitted to use it. Absurd. Instead, the people, abandoned by the government, struggle to get in the rickety trucks with their animals and goods. However, I was lucky, and by the skin of my teeth, I got a place in the front of a truck and sat next to two women. We laughed our heads off, drank water, and I tried my best to understand their native language. Difficult, though. We were forced to stop twice because of punctures. Finally, we got through the desert and reached the sea by sunset. An enormous ball of fire was setting over the horizon, bleeding the sky, and a herd of goats ignored us and carried on chewing trupillo leaves.